Welcome to the captivating world of Fidel Castro, the enigmatic leader who, after years of struggle, emerged as the Prime Minister of Cuba. Join us as we explore the transformative era that followed his ascent to power, delving into the policies, achievements, and controversies that defined his rule. Get ready to unravel the complex legacy of this iconic figure whose impact reverberated far beyond the shores of Cuba. Prepare for a captivating journey through history as we delve into the life and times of Fidel Castro, the Prime Minister of Cuba. As Prime Minister, Castro embarked on an ambitious agenda to transform Cuba. His government implemented sweeping reforms, including land redistribution, nationalizing industries, and improving access to education and healthcare. One of the most significant policies implemented by Castro was the nationalization of key industries such as sugar, banking, and telecommunications. While controversial, this move aimed to redistribute wealth and improve the lives of many Cubans. By taking control of these industries, the government sought to ensure that the profits and benefits were shared among the Cuban people as a whole. Castro's land reform program played a crucial role in addressing social and economic inequality. Through this program, land was redistributed to peasants, providing them with opportunities for agricultural self-sufficiency and economic empowerment. This initiative was particularly popular among the rural population and contributed to a reduction in poverty and inequality in the countryside. Castro's government placed a strong emphasis on social welfare programs. Access to education and healthcare was expanded, ensuring that these fundamental services were available to all Cubans. Additionally, special attention was given to the well-being of women, children, and the elderly through targeted social programs. These efforts significantly improved the overall quality of life for many Cubans. Castro's close alliance with the Soviet Union had both positive and negative consequences for Cuba. The Soviet Union provided economic and military assistance, which helped Cuba develop its infrastructure, industries, and defense capabilities. However, this alliance also made Cuba a target of the United States. In response, the U.S. imposed a trade embargo on Cuba in 1962, which had a lasting impact on the country's economy. In an effort to remove Castro from power, the CIA recruited and trained a group of Cuban exiles, known as Brigade 2506, to carry out a covert invasion at the Bay of Pigs. On April 17, 1961, Brigade 2506 landed at the Bay of Pigs. However, their hopes for a popular uprising against Castro's government were quickly dashed. Fidel Castro, rallying the Cuban people, called for resistance against the invading forces. The Cuban military and loyalist forces swiftly countered the invasion, leading to its failure. Among Fidel Castro's key comrades during the Bay of Pigs invasion was Ernesto Che Guevara, an Argentine revolutionary who played a significant role in the Cuban Revolution. Camilo Cienfuegos, known as the Hero of Yaguajay, was a key military leader who played a crucial role in the victorious Cuban Revolution. Raúl Castro, as Fidel's trusted confidant and brother, provided crucial leadership and strategic guidance during the invasion. Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, Camilo Cienfuegos, and Raúl Castro formed a formidable alliance, united by their commitment to the Cuban Revolution and their shared vision for a socialist Cuba. The invasion began with a series of airstrikes on Cuban airfields. The airstrikes were designed to destroy the Cuban Air Force and to prevent it from interfering with the invasion. However, the airstrikes were only partially successful, and the Cuban Air Force was able to mount a counterattack. On the morning of April 17th, a force of 1,400 Cuban exiles landed at the Bay of Pigs on the south coast of Cuba. The exiles were trained and equipped by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. The exiles' plan was to establish a beachhead at the Bay of Pigs and to wait for the Cuban people to rise up in support of the invasion. However, the Cuban people did not rise up in support of the invasion, and the Cuban military quickly overwhelmed the invaders. The Bay of Pigs invasion ended in a resounding victory for Castro's forces. Many of the exiles were captured, and the failed operation became a propaganda triumph for the Cuban Revolution. The imperialists have been defeated. This invasion has only strengthened our resolve to defend the revolution and our sovereignty. The Bay of Pigs invasion became a defining moment for Fidel Castro and his revolutionary government. It solidified his image as a defiant leader and shaped the course of Cuba's history for decades to come. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 was a pivotal moment in history that brought the world dangerously close to nuclear war. At the center of this crisis was Fidel Castro, the charismatic leader of Cuba, and his complex relationship with the United States and the Soviet Union. Fidel Castro, a revolutionary leader, had successfully transformed Cuba into a socialist nation after overthrowing the US-backed dictatorship of Fulgencio Batista. Castro's rise to power and his subsequent alliance with the Soviet Union would put Cuba at the center of the global stage. Tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were escalating during the Cold War. The United States, alarmed by Cuba's growing ties with the Soviet Union, suspected the presence of Soviet nuclear missiles on the island. Khrushchev, comrades, our strategic partnership with Cuba provides us with an opportunity to counterbalance the United States in their own backyard. We must support Castro's regime and protect our interests. As the United States discovered evidence of Soviet missile installations in Cuba, tensions reached a boiling point. President Kennedy confronted the Soviet Union, demanding the immediate removal of the missiles. Castro, Cuba will not bow down to American imperialism. We have the right to defend ourselves against any aggression. Kennedy, we cannot allow Soviet missiles to threaten our national security. We must find a way to resolve this crisis peacefully. Castro, we must stand firm against the United States. We cannot allow them to dictate our destiny. Behind closed doors, diplomatic channels were explored to find a peaceful resolution. The world held its breath as the two superpowers engaged in tense negotiations. Finally, a breakthrough occurred. The crisis had been resolved, but tensions remained high. Fidel Castro, feeling betrayed by the Soviet Union's decision, was left with a bitter realization. Castro, the Soviet Union has withdrawn its missiles, leaving us vulnerable to American aggression. We will continue to defend our revolution at all costs. In the aftermath of the crisis, Fidel Castro solidified his alliance with the Soviet Union. Increased economic and military support from the Soviets allowed Cuba to further consolidate its socialist revolution. Castro's leadership was marked by the implementation of centrally planned economic policies. Industries were nationalized, and agriculture was collectivized, aiming to create a more equitable society. Castro prioritized social programs, particularly in healthcare and education. Cuba achieved remarkable successes, with high literacy rates and a robust healthcare system, becoming pillars of the revolution's accomplishments. Cuba, under Castro's leadership, emerged as a key player in the global Cold War dynamics. The country supported revolutionary movements and socialist governments in Latin America and Africa, often challenging the influence of the United States. However, Cuba faced significant challenges due to the comprehensive trade embargo imposed by the United States in 1962. The embargo isolated Cuba and created economic hardships that persist to this day. Fidel Castro remained in power until 2008 when he transferred leadership to his brother, Raúl Castro. Fidel's retirement marked the end of his formal rule, but he continued to be an influential figure in Cuban politics until his passing in 2016. However, despite these efforts, reports and allegations of corruption within the Cuban government and its institutions have emerged over the years. Fidel Castro's rule in Cuba was marked by numerous assassination attempts. From explosive cigars to poisoned milkshakes, various groups sought to remove him from power. The CIA led early assassination plots, but Castro's resilience prevailed. Robust security measures and counterintelligence operations protected him. Cuban intelligence foiled some attempts, capturing infiltrators and double agents. The world witnessed these attempts, straining Cuba's relations and fueling Castro's defiance. As time went on, the frequency of attempts decreased, but Castro remained vigilant. Fidel Castro's survival became a symbol of his resilience and Cuba's history. On November 25, 2016, Fidel Castro passed away at the age of 90 in Havana, Cuba. His death marked the end of an era and left a significant impact on the world. Following his death, tributes poured in from around the globe. Many praised his role in the Cuban Revolution and his efforts to challenge imperialism. Fidel Castro's legacy remains complex and controversial. He is remembered as a charismatic leader who fought for Cuba's independence and social justice, while others criticize his authoritarian rule and human rights record. Regardless of differing opinions, Fidel Castro's impact on Cuba and the world will be remembered for generations to come. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like these.